Hello, we are in Chapter 5, Section 5.6, Rationalizing Denominators. In this video, we are going to rationalize denominators with binomial terms, assuming that all variables represent positive numbers. We already know that the idea is to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator on both top and bottom. So in part A, the conjugate of the square root of 7 plus 5 is the square root of 7 minus 5. So that's what we multiply into both the denominator and the numerator. And then we start with simplifying the denominator. We know this is the difference of squares. So the square root of 7 squared is just 7, and 5 squared is 25. And I will keep the numerator factored. I could distribute that square root of 3, but this will not result in any possible simplification, so we'll just leave it in factored form. And 7 minus 25 is, of course, negative 18, and I'll just keep rewriting that numerator. And then not to have the negative in the denominator, I'm just going to put it in front on the whole fraction, and still leave that numerator factored. That's gonna be it for part A. In part B, we have two square roots, but it's still just a sum of two expressions where they are possibly square roots. So we again multiply by the conjugate, which in this case is the square root of k minus the square root of z, what we multiply into both the denominator and the numerator of our fraction. And again, starting with the denominator, the square of the square root of k is k, and the square of the square root of z is z. So we get k minus z. And in the numerator, again, I'm going to keep it in factored form because no further simplifications will be possible. That's actually it for part B. And then in part C, we also have two square roots, and the conjugate is the square root of 2 plus the square root of 7. We multiply it into both the denominator and the numerator, of course. I put this extra parenthesis to make sure I multiply things out properly if needed. Again, starting with the denominator, the square of the square root of 2 is 2, the square of the square root of 7 is 7. So we get 2 minus 7. And again, acknowledging that in that numerator, even if I multiply this all out, I will have no like terms to simplify. I'm just going to leave it in this factored form. Now 2 minus 7 is negative 5, and we already know we can put that negative in front of the whole fraction. And I'll keep that numerator in factored form. And that's gonna be it in this case.